It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of January 19th, 2001. We got 5 movies to look at today, 1 new release, and then 4 movies that came out weeks before, but I never got to cover them, so I'll just cover them in this one. And let's go ahead and get right to it. In this first movie here, I think I said on yesterday's show that this was a film that Gene Hackman was in. I got that confused with another movie that Hackman was in that came out in 2001 called Heist, which we'll get to eventually. But no, this has Jack Nicholson in it, and pretty good cast, pretty good director, Sean Penn. Let's see if this holds up. This is The Pledge. So Jack Nicholson plays a Reno, Nevada detective. He retires and pledges to the mother of a murdered girl that he would find the killer. Jerry doesn't believe the police arrested the right man. He discovers that this is the 3rd incident in the area in the recent past with victims young, blonde, and pretty, and small for their ages. So he buys an old gas station in the mountains near the crimes in order to search for a tall man who drives a black station wagon, gives toy porcupines as gifts, and calls himself the Wizard, all clues from the drawing by the dead girl. Jerry's solitary life gives way to friendship with a woman and her small blonde daughter. Has Jerry neglected something that may prove to be fatal? The last movie Sean Penn directed was actually a film that starred Jack Nicholson, a criminally underrated film called The Crossing Guard. And while this isn't quite as good as that movie, it's actually a lot better than what you would expect in the month of January, honestly. Add into account that this is also Franchise Pictures, the company that was notoriously known for making some pretty bad movies. Get Carter, Driven, the whole 9 yards was probably their best movie overall, but this is actually maybe a close second, if not maybe a little bit better than that. I forgot how good this movie was. This is a criminally underrated film, and I couldn't believe I couldn't remember that Gene Hackman was not in this one, but it was Jack Nicholson, because Jack Nicholson's really good in this movie. I mean, this is a film that you could tell that he and Sean Penn work well together because they both were, like I said, on The Crossing Guard, which is a great film, and this one has a great he leads a great cast that includes Patricia Clarkson, Aaron Eckhart, Helen Mirren, Robin Wright Penn, Vanessa Redgrave, Mickey Rourke, Benicio del Toro, Sam Shepard. Just a terrific cast, a really good mystery overall. It's a really good movie. I can't remember how much I liked this. I can't believe I don't remember how much I liked this one, because I remember, it's been a while since I've seen this one, but I remember really liking it when I saw it, and like I said, everything should be going against it because it's in January, it's by Franchise Pictures, a company that was not known for making great movies, but here's one that really is a criminally underrated film. Maybe not as good as something like The Crossing Guard, but it's definitely worth it. It shows that Sean Penn knows what he's doing when it comes to directing, because he would follow this up with Into the Wild, which is probably his best film overall, but very underrated film. If you have not seen The Pledge, I would say definitely check it out. It's actually much better than you would give it credit for, considering everything it has going against it, but so that's The Pledge. So let's go ahead and move on to some of these movies that have been out for a couple weeks now that I'm just getting to now, starting with Sam Raimi's The Gift. So this stars Cate Blanchett as a psychologist who is involved in a murder case when she acquires knowledge of it through her extrasensory perception and psychic abilities. And as you see there, Keanu Reeves, Giovanni Ribisi, Hilary Swank, Katie Holmes, Greg Kinnear are among the cast in this. Written by Billy Bob Thornton, who the two of them worked together on A Simple Plan, which is a criminally underrated Sam Raimi film. This one's not quite as good, definitely has a lot of flaws to it, but again, kind of like with The Pledge, it's much better than I think a lot of people give it credit for. It shows what Katie Holmes' abilities can be as an actress. She's very good in the film. Everybody in this movie works pretty well. There is a really good mystery involved in this film. There's a lot of creepy elements to the movie. And it does show Sam Raimi's range as a director. This is one of those movies from that time when he was trying to do something very different from his usual filming style, and it works to a good advantage in some of the movies that he's done. Again, not as good as some of his other movies, but this is one that's actually very underrated. If you haven't seen it, I'd say definitely check it out. It's definitely worth the watch. So not much more to say about The Gift, so let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is the infamous, the one and only Dracula 2000. Ah, yes, the legendarily bad Dracula 2000. In this millennium version of the classic gothic horror, we find Abe Van Helsing, played by Christopher Plummer, who is tangled with Count Dracula, played by a pre-300 Gerard Butler in the past, working as an English antiques dealer. And then you have Simon, played by Johnny Lee Miller, who is a vampire hunter in training under his apprenticeship. Van Helsing and Simon travel from London to New Orleans to rescue Van Helsing's daughter, Mary, from the family's lifelong nemesis, Dracula. Now, adapting this story to modern times should not be as complicated as it is, but this was Miramax, not even Miramax, this was Dimension Films back then. They put this type of movie that should not open up on a Christmas weekend. They can't accept the fact that Scream was a one-time thing that should have, and Scream and Scream 2 were a one-time opportunity thing where they open on Christmas, around Christmas time. They do very well because they're good movies. And then this is just like, no, we're going to put more horror movies out there because that's what everyone wants to see when they go to the movies during the holiday season. The Faculty comes to mind, An American Werewolf in London. That's the good one. An American Werewolf in Paris, that terrible movie. And then you have this movie right here. It's just, which even if this movie didn't open up around Christmas time, it really would not have worked altogether. This is directed by Patrick Lussier, who went on to direct such great films as My Bloody Valentine 3D, and Drive Angry, and the Dracula sequels, and White Noise, The Light. So his career has not really taken a step in the right direction, and this movie really is really bad. It's really, basically, it's doing every bad early 2000s millennial's way of trying to appeal to trying to modernize the story for a new generation, thinking it's like, basically this is just a bunch of old people thinking what is cool and hip to the kids. Let's put that in this movie, and it doesn't work. It does not work at all, and it really, really shows. It's not scary, it's not interesting, the cast is pretty bland. It's a really bad movie. Avoid this one like the plague. Plain and simple. Dracula 2000. Dracula 2000, man. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to some better movies. We have All the Pretty Horses next. Okay, maybe better movies was maybe a little bit of an overstatement, but Billy Bob Thornton directed this one, so that's something. You've got two young Texas cowboys on the cusp of manhood riding into 1940s Mexico in search of experience. What they find is a country as chaotic as it is beautiful, as cruel and unfeeling as it is mysterious, where death is a constant capricious this is a hard word to say, capricious companion. Yeah, it's a pretentious Oscar bait movie. I mean, no doubt. That's really what it all comes down to here. The movie itself was pretty pan when it came out. This is based off a Cormac McCarthy book, and of course, Cormac McCarthy gave us No Country for Old Men, which turned into a much better film later on in the decade. But waste a really good cast: Matt Damon, Henry Thomas, Sam Shepard, Robert Patrick, Lucas Black, Penelope Cruz, Ruben Blades, Bruce Dern. Really good cast in this movie, but it is pretty much a pretentious, cliched Oscar bait movie that's trying to win Academy Awards. I mean, you see that trailer and you think, oh, Matt Damon's the best thing about the movie, and in some ways he is, but at the same time, he's not. It's not really saying that much compared to how bad this movie is. I mean, it is really not that good of a film. It's a really dull movie that runs way too long. Over 2 hours long. Nothing interesting of note happens in this. It's a pretentious movie. It's just too much. It's so much of its own you-know-what that it just really, the enjoyment factor just isn't there with this one. And it's really a letdown of a movie, considering the talent on board here. It's just kind of like, I don't know, you expect so much better from it, but it's just not there, So yeah, All the Pretty Horses. I mean, it's better than Dracula 2000, but, not by that much. So let's see if we can truly end the show on a positive note with our last movie here, You Can Count on Me. It's a little bit better. You have Laura Linney, Mark Ruffalo, Rory Culkin, and Matthew Broderick, and the film follows a single mother living in a small Catskills mountain town and her complicated relationship with her family and friends. And directed by Kenneth Lonergan, who later went on to direct Manchester by the Sea. He also wrote Analyze This and The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. So he's got some decent titles to his name, and this is a pretty good movie. I mean, it does kind of fall into a little bit of an Oscar bait territory, but the performances, I think, are good enough for it to stand out on its own. Matthew Broderick's actually really good in the movie for the little bit that he's in, playing a little bit outside of his normal characters that we usually see him in. And Laura Linney, man. Laura Linney usually will turn in a good performance regardless of what you put her in. I mean, Mark Ruffalo will, too. Interesting storylines, good characters overall. Decent film. Not a great film, but it's better than a lot of the movies we've looked at today, so... That's you got to give me that, but you can count on me. And so, with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. We'll wrap up January next time with 2 movies: Jennifer Lopez and Matthew McConaughey in The Wedding Planner, and Sugar and Spice. So, 2 movies to look at next time. We'll delve into those on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So, with that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.